The OBG brought to you by
H.C. Henderson Esquire.
Okay, the ABG show. Let's begin with a simple truth, shall we? These times that we're living in, they're not going to fix themselves, and I don't think there's any miracle coming. You know, if we want a better world, then we have to build it with our own hands, our own choices, and we have to build it with our own courage. But we have to do that right now, not at someday. We talk about societies if it's some distant machine, but society is nothing more than all of us multiplied. Our habits become culture, our silences become permission, and our empathy, or the lack of it, becomes a shape of the world that we're living in. Now, Arundhati Roy, the Indian writer and human rights activist, said, the only thing worth globalizing is dissent. And Roy spent decades exposing inequality and defending the powerless from displaced communities in India to global victims of political indifference. And her work reminds us that progress doesn't come from agreement, but it comes from the willingness to interrupt injustice. And that is exactly what these times require. Not more opinions, we're drowning in opinions, but more responsibility, more willingness to act even when no one's watching. And you have to start with yourself, really, because you're the only place you have any real control over. A chaotic inner life creates a chaotic external world. Now, if you're angry, exhausted, distracted, running on autopilot, that doesn't stay inside you, it spills out. It lands on everyone you meet, and we all become either an amplifier of harm or we become the multiplier of calm. Which one do you prefer? And self-discipline isn't old-fashioned, it's a civic duty. Then we learn how to recognize other human beings, and that way we all move forward. We scroll past pain like it's scenery. We mistake commentary for contribution. We confuse outrage with impact. But the society that we currently live in doesn't start rising or growing because people shout louder. It rises because people see each other again. And that means stepping into conversations we'd rather avoid. It means listening without preparing your counter-attack. And it means treating people as redeemable, even when they fail, because none of us are finished products. None of us are perfect. And strengthen the spaces between us. And communities have to be built by us. They have to grow, and they don't collapse as easy as a single person does when you're in a group. You know, communities fray slowly, they deteriorate. And every time we choose convenience over connection, cynicism over trust, and isolation over participation, these things just won't work. So we need to repair the spaces, we need to show up, we need to volunteer, we need to support local efforts and be the person who can be relied on. Small communities repeated consistently how cultures change. We need to get each person to act as a steward and not as a consumer. People are lazy like that. They want the entertainment. I'll go along to a festival. I'm not going to pick litter up. I'm just going there as a consumer, eat, drink, chuck my litter and leave. And that applies to us and our relationships and things in life. Everything is for the throwing away. And modern life keeps telling you that your purpose is to consume. You're a victim of media, more information, more products, more attention, distraction. But every moment you step out of that cycle, you reclaim agency. Stewardship means looking after your mental landscape, your community, your environment, your integrity, and the people who will inherit whatever we leave behind. And that's one of the most important lessons. People forget that someone's going to inherit what we left behind. You don't want to walk into a smelly toilet, do you? And remember, better is a practice. It's not glamorous, it's not Instagrammable. It's a long, often lonely discipline of choosing what's right over what's easy. And the Nobel-winning economist Amartya Sen, who's another major Indian thinker, wrote that poverty is not just a lack of money, it's a lack of capability. And her work shaped global development by arguing that true progress means expanding human freedom and dignity. It's not just about income. And him and his research reminds us that a society is judged not by the strength of its powerful, but by the opportunities it creates for the vulnerable. And the idea is the heart of our task that we have ahead of us. And in fact, the task that we have to start today to expand our capabilities, to widen our dignity, and to ensure that the world we build is one where people can actually live in, not just survive. So here's the call. Be the dissent. Arundhati Roy speaks of speak the dissent. Arundhati speaks of. I forget what it was. I was going to say something, and then it came to a hard full stop. Never mind, it's gone anyway. But be the capability that Amartya Sen fights for, and be the person whose existence makes the present moment kinder, clearer, and more just. We don't need to wait for better times. We need to become them. And that's the most important thing. I am Neo BG.
Kush now, think Kush with.